Hello, good morning. I hope that everybody is well. It's a miserable day in Cornwall. It's raining, it's windy, the sky is black. And poor Ray and Bertie are out walking in that at the moment. So I'm looking after little Hugo, and he's too young to leave by himself, so he's going to share this video with us. I hope he's going to be a good boy, we shall see. This week I haven't done much writing or research. When I start to do research, I lose sense of time and reality, so I haven't been able to do that with looking after Hugo. But I have got some good stitching in the evenings. Stitching is something I can do whilst keeping an eye on this little one, and he's very quickly adapted or understands that mummy stitches, and he either comes and lies on the chair and shares my chair with me, or he goes to sleep on my feet, or he's playing with his big brother Bertie, or cuddling up to Bertie. So I have managed to get quite a bit of stitching in, and this is where I am too with Amelia Jane. Those colours are so Christmassy. She chose beautiful shades of green and red. This sampler has been a great one to stitch. It's just cross stitch, very sort of calming to stitch with these colours, and this little design is very well laid out. She was a good little counter, she was an accurate stitcher. I've actually got to the point in this sampler where I'm going to be starting a really beautiful cartouche at the bottom which surrounds her name and her date. So that's what I'm going to be stitching on this evening if everything goes to plan. Oh, this video is important because we've chosen a name this morning of the person who's going to receive this really lovely stitching journal. This is a giveaway that we announced 2 weeks ago in a Flosstube video, and this is for a really lovely stitch journal. And a non-needle worker friend who lives in the village chose the name from the comments that were left, and this morning she Facebook messaged me who had won the journal, and the person that she chose was Linda Satterthwaite, Satherthwaite, and my friend said it was Linda's surname that really caught her attention. So Linda, please could you email me your postal address, and I will get the journal in the post to you, and I hope that you enjoy it, and it will be a lovely place to record your needlework projects. Now, I haven't really had much time to sort of think about this video and to plan out what I was going to talk about, but I did think it would be really, really nice to share this sampler with you, and I think that this is a very special sampler, you might think that you've seen this sampler before, and you are sort of correct. This little boy's gone to sleep. I showed during the first lockdown in the UK an almost identical sampler. That sampler is now in Australia with Sandra, and we have one each, and we're quite thrilled that we have both got these samplers hanging in our own homes. The samplers are identical except for the verse and the dedication. The two girls who stitched these samplers chose different verses, and obviously the dedication is slightly different. Mine was stitched by Charlotte Amelia Stevens, and it was in the 13th year of her life that she finished the sampler on June the 19th, 1834. And the verse that she chose was, "O thou, the dispenser of the good we possess, let the infant before thee thy goodness confess. In grace and in mercy thy blessing impart. Let the name of my Saviour be wrote on my heart. That while with my needle may time I employ, may my thoughts rest in heaven, the place of all joy." I think that's a really lovely verse, actually. This border is scrumptious. It really, really is. It's jam-packed with some beautiful flowers, and the colours have held really well. I'm not sure which are Sandra's favourite flowers, but I get torn between these beautiful tiger lilies and these gorgeous roses with these beautiful rosebuds coming out. But the basket of fruit is beautiful as well. Now, Sandra is reproducing her girl, and we're just waiting for the Auvert Soie d'Alger silks to arrive, and Sandra will start stitching the model. It's a big project, so it's probably going to take a little time to stitch, but we're very much looking forward to making this sampler available for you to stitch as well. When I say this sampler, I mean Sandra's sampler, but they are identical. We know that these girls lived in the same vicinity or area, and they obviously shared the same needlework teacher. And we suspect that these girls were cousins, but we have not yet finished carrying out our research in the family history records. We're excited about this one. It's a beautiful sampler, it's magnificent, and I know that Sandra's going to make a fabulous job of her reproduction. Now, this week I have had several samplers arrive, antique samplers, and I've not had the opportunity to sit down and spend time with them, studying them, but I'm going to share two of those samplers with you. One of them I just bought on a spur of the moment decision. I loved the name, and it's a very simple little sampler. It was stitched by Lily Thurza Edwards in 1887. A very simple little sampler, and this sampler only uses 4 colours, and it's very Christmassy. Those English robins are very, very pretty, and although that isn't holly, those are strawberries, it is reminiscent of Christmas, so maybe this is one that we could have for Christmas 2021. Oh gosh, thinking about Christmas 2021, we haven't had Christmas 2020 yet. We're not going to be going away for Christmas. Now we've got little one, we shall have Christmas at home. And I will just have to be a domestic goddess, because I doubt very much whether we will be able to go out and have Christmas lunch out either. So, he's such a sweet little boy. Now, the other sampler that I bought and came this week was Amy Fisher. And I loved this sampler. When I saw it, I thought, oh, that's really lovely, and it's different. The border is different. These motifs at the bottom, I just really, really love this sampler. There's something very calming about the colours that she chose and the way the sampler is laid out. I think this little girl had a very organised mind. I just love those colour choices, so pretty. The sampler was stitched in wool, probably on something like about 28 count, maybe 30. I will have to have a look and work that out. But this is a sampler that I most certainly want to reproduce. I think this is one that I'm going to enjoy stitching myself personally. So many beautiful samplers. Sometimes I go into my study and I am overwhelmed about what sampler we're going to reproduce next. You want to reproduce them all, but you just can't. I feel that I'm sort of playing truant from work at the moment because I've not sat down and carried on writing a booklet that I was working on. I was actually working on it when we had the phone call to say that we could go and get Hugo. That Hugo was ours, because we literally didn't know until that phone call that we had Hugo. And it's a sampler that I know that many people are waiting for, and I'm torn about releasing it as she is, but there's so much more to her story that I want to research and write about before I release it. So I'm going to be a little bit selfish and say that I might be a week or two late with that sampler, but I want to do the little girl proud and give my all to put in the little booklet together. It's going to be a PDF, but I still like recording about little girls, and the PDFs or the printed booklets, they're our tribute to these little girls. I hope that everybody is okay in themselves. At the moment, it's been really upsetting watching the news for lots of different reasons. I have friends who have lost loved ones with COVID, and I was chatting to a friend this week whose son and daughter-in-law and grandchildren all have COVID, and my heart goes out to everybody who's being touched by this. On the news, or in the news this week, there was about the Sea Dream cruise ship. It was one of the first cruise ships that cruised this season in the Caribbean, and this ship is the little cruise ship that we love so much and that we normally spend quite a bit of time on each year. And it only set sail with 53 passengers and 66 crew members. And we know that this ship has the highest standards of hygiene, and they introduced lots of new regulations about testing. People had to be tested 3 times before they were allowed on the ship, and the ship set sail last Saturday, and on Wednesday it was announced that a passenger had tested positive for COVID, and by Thursday 7 people had tested positive for COVID. And I think that it's actually made us realise that we will probably never cruise again. By the time it's safe for cruising, Ray will probably be too old to cruise, and it makes us sad, but we like to look at life as a glass half full as opposed to half empty, and we like to count the blessings that we have, and I hope that other people that can look on life that way look to the positive things in your life, not the negative things. things will get better. There's, you know, all this talk about vaccine, and I really, really hope that the vaccine works and everybody gets access to that vaccine, and then maybe we can get our lives back to normal. I made a decision that I will not be travelling by air in 2021. I have to think of my husband, and if I brought anything back with me, he is vulnerable. So I won't be teaching in the US in 2021, but I very much hope that by 2022 things will get back to normal, and I'm looking forward to sharing more samplers in person in workshops in the US. I really think that there is hope on the horizon. There is. We've got to stay positive. I'm going to say goodbye now. I'm sorry it's such a short video and there was very, very little needlework content, but maybe by next week there will be much more to talk about needlework related. Until the next time, stay safe, stay well. Bye.